If you're still using the classic 3 months of expenses rule based on what life cost back in 2020, you're now roughly $6,000 short for the same level of protection. That's because average Canadian household spending has climbed to $6,996 a month, according to Statistics Canada figures cited in recent 2026 guidance. So the real target isn't the number in your head, and by the end of this, I'll show you exactly how to find yours. The definition is simple. An emergency fund is meant to cover 3 to 6 months of your essential living expenses, and that's the baseline the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada and every major institution uses. But here's where it gets slippery. The rule is a multiplier, and the thing you multiply keeps getting more expensive. I read the fine print so you don't have to, and the fine print is that 3 to 6 months quietly became a much bigger number. The first thing most people get wrong is anchoring to income instead of essentials. Your emergency fund only needs to cover the bills that don't stop when a paycheck does: rent, groceries, utilities, insurance, transport, and minimum debt payments. Recent Canadian guidance puts that essentials only average at about $4,400 a month, which is the real number your multiplier should sit on top of. Now apply the multiplier. At $4,400 a month in essentials, 3 months is $13,200 and 6 months is $26,400, according to 2026 Canadian guidance. If you use full household spending of $6,396 a month, the same rule stretches to between $19,200 and $38,400. The rule didn't change, the output did, dramatically. The number of months isn't one size fits all, and the FCAC is clear that it depends on your personal situation. A single person with a stable salaried job might sit at 3 months, while contract workers, the self-employed, and single income families with kids are advised to hold 6 months, roughly $15,000 to $24,000 in a high-cost city. The riskier and less predictable your income, the more months you carry. Where you keep the fund matters more than people assume. Canadian guidance recommends an accessible high-interest savings account, or TFSA, cash account earning roughly 3.5 to 4% right now. On $8,000, a basic 0.5% savings account earns just $40 a year, while a 4% account earns $320. The money is equally available, but one of them is quietly working for you. If this is useful, subscribe. The next breakdown is already coming. Let's make it concrete. Sarah is 34, a Toronto marketing coordinator with about $3,500 a month in essential costs and $8,000 already saved, which she believed was plenty. Applying the FCAC's 3 to 6 month rule to her actual essentials, her true target is $10,500 to $21,000, meaning she's short somewhere between $2,500 and $13,000. Her fund isn't wrong by a little. It's off by nearly triple at the top end. Before I get to the last part, which is the most counterintuitive piece of this, here's what the gap actually costs. If Sarah lost her income for 6 months, she'd need $21,000 but only has $8,000, leaving a $13,000 hole she'd likely fill with credit. At a typical 19.99% card rate, carrying that $13,000 for a single year adds around $2,600 in interest on top of the principal. A cash gap quietly converts itself into long-term debt. Here's the part the brochures skip. Public support does exist. The 2026 Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit pays up to $1,890 to a family of 4 and up to $950 to a single person. But measured against average monthly spending of $6,396, even the maximum payment covers less than 1 month of costs, and it can take weeks to arrive. You cannot lean on the safety net as your emergency fund. It's a patch, not a plan. And this is the counterintuitive finale I promised. Underplanning doesn't just hurt during one crisis, no, it compounds across a lifetime. Illustrative modeling shows roughly $9,000 to $10,000 in credit card interest across 2 income disruptions, plus about $14,700 in missed interest from keeping too little in a low-yield account. Combined, that's an estimated $23,700 to $24,700 lost over a career, purely from never updating the math and never chasing a competitive rate. So here's what to do with all this. Open the FCAC budget planner on canada.ca, list every essential: housing, food, utilities, transport, insurance, minimum debt payments, and total them into your real monthly baseline. Then multiply that number by 3 and by 6 to get your minimum and recommended targets. Do this once, and you'll never again guess your emergency number from memory. Next, right-size the fund to your real risk. Stable salaried single earners can sit near 3 months, self-employed workers and single income families should target 6. And if your income is highly volatile, some experts now suggest 8 to 12. Then move that cash into a high-interest savings account, or TFSA, earning about 3.5 to 4%. Keep it separate from spending and automate a transfer every payday so it builds itself. Recalculate your number this week, because the emergency won't wait for you to catch up. Next, I'm breaking down exactly how a TFSA emergency fund is taxed, and when you can pull the cash out without penalty. If you want to catch that one, subscribe so you don't miss it.